Okay, so I've got my binding stitched on to the front of my quilt and I've folded it over to the back. And I like to use pins like this, like little binding clips to help hold my binding down, especially as I'm getting started. And I've got my needle. These are some of my favorites. They're just the little Singer embroidery gold eye needles. And then I usually use like a pearl cotton number 8. And I even use it for my big stitch binding. Sometimes I'll use a number 12, which is actually a thinner weight, but for this I'm using the size 8. So I've got my needle threaded and my thread knotted at the end. So I'm going to come a little bit below where I want to start and put my needle through and come up into my binding. So I'm grabbing in there, but I'm going to pop that knot here in a second. Okay, so I'm ready to pull it through and pop my needle. So all I mean by that is having it like this. You can see my little knot and tail, and I'm going to just pull just gently enough to pull it through this backing fabric, but I don't want it to come all the way through here. So it's really a gentle thing. If you pull too hard, you'll just need to start again. And so now I'm going to take my thread or my needle and take little bitty chunks, just like if you're hand stitching. And you just kind of want to feel with your finger back here to make sure you're not going all the way through, because you just want to be grabbing that single layer of backing fabric and not go through to your front. And usually I'll try to get a couple stitches in. And just like hand quilting, I love the added texture and touch that this gives, but also it is something that I can take with me and do on the couch or on a swing outside or in the car. And I really enjoy having like just something to keep my hands busy in those moments. And you'll see, you just continue to go down. Try your best to keep those stitches even, but just kind of keep maybe 1/8 of an inch away from your edge and really try not to grab to the back of your fabric. Okay, when you're ready to tie it off, I still have plenty of thread here, but I'm going to switch up my colors. So I'm just going to take it here and I'm going to pull it up through the back, just a little bit farther down. And I'm going to tug and make sure it's in there tight, and then just do a simple knot, and that will be hidden underneath my binding. And then just trim it as close as you can get to the knot there. And then you're ready to start your next color. Okay, one more thing I want to show you is how I like to do corners when I'm doing this. And some of it's not that different from just regular finishing binding. So when I get about this far, maybe, I don't know, 3/4 an inch from the end of my quilt, then I go ahead and fold up this side and pinch down until I have a nice mitered corner. And I'll actually go ahead and pinch that to keep it nice and straight. And then I might even pinch that to hold it down so it is nice and crisp right there. So then I'll continue stitching here until I get close. And I'm going to want to space this enough that it's going to work. The spacing of my stitches will make sense. So sometimes I will bring it up around where another stitch would start, but I want to get this corner stitch down. Sometimes I'll just go down and come back up right there over and over and over again and just have kind of a couple of stitches back and forth. Sometimes on this one, what I'm going to do is do an X. So I'm going to come up a little bit and put my needle down and come up just above where that one is. And that's going to get one angle of my X, and you can see now I just need to come down here and come across there. And I usually do that a couple times to make sure it's pretty tight, because I don't want my corners coming loose. And then now at this point, I can go ahead and come down just a smidge farther than this stitch right here. Pull it up. I've made a cute little X, and now I'm ready to go down my row some more.